Organizations working with children in Thika Town Constituency have formed a consortium to fight for the rights of vulnerable children, especially the street-connected children, and also ensure that their rights to services, resources, care and opportunities are met. Speaking after a consultative meeting in Thika, the participants said that the consortium was geared towards complementing what the government was doing to implement policies as enacted in the Children's Act of 2022. The organizations noted with concern the high number of school-going children now frequenting Thika Town CBD and surrounding estates to beg. They noted that as much that there was a need to help these children, the people's overgenerosity was attracting even the less deserving cases into the streets to enjoy free goodies that were now in plenty.
Somehow they don't come and invoke, but the children who are in the street are now clean. So I think there's something unafanya huko. At least wanaoga na unaona they look healthy. So apparently they are washing and they are eating. So wengine ni kama ni hobby ya kukuja town.
I am Newton Joroga, a street family ambassador in Thika. We have been having a real challenge with the street children, and these are majority of whom come from our slum Kiandutu. The bigger population of the street children right now in Thika Town, they are school-going children who have come to the streets or usually come to the streets on weekends. Some of the reasons why they come to the streets is the community. The community in Thika is extremely generous, and the street children find the streets very comfortable to survive there because there are lots of food and a variety of the foods that they cannot access in homes.
We have children right now streaming and growing in numbers in the streets of Thika Town, and all of us feel responsible. When it comes to children, we are thinking about their health. We are thinking about poverty in this Thika sub-county. They go out, especially out to Thika Town to get food. But as they go to get food, child exploitation happens. It's a form of abuse, and it's actually violation of their rights. And so they're given some very, very casual jobs and given very little money, but because they need money for the food, they actually accept.
This vulnerability was exposing the children to exploitation through poorly paid menial jobs, manipulation into crimes and drug addiction. They challenged the society to seek more structured ways to assist these children so as to reduce their numbers on the streets. They also challenged the county government of Kiambu and other government agencies mandated to deal with children welfare to align their policy implementation programs so as to involve organizations that directly worked with street children.
The community should start looking at it like not just an act of charity, but do it the right way. Yes, it is charity, but do it the right way. We have a chief, we have a children officer, we have the DCC's office. These are places you can take your support. And this support can be channeled to the right organizations or the right deserving families in the slum.
Today we are saying it is the government with us working together, because the child does not belong to any NGO. And the government is not there and us here. We are also part of the government, because where the government needs to come in, we expect the government to come in. Where they expect us to come in, by the way, we support the government. All these non-profit making organizations come in to support the work the government is supposed to do.
We know that Kiambu County is already working on a child protection policy. We are grateful that our government have ascended to or assigned to a Children Act 2022. And what this consortium is doing is to complement those efforts. More so because for so long, we felt that there were gaps of systems and implementation of policy touching the most vulnerable. Our government has been talking about inclusivity, but these are the teams that know who is that is struggled to be included. We are grateful that we have the Nyumba Kumi, that we have the chiefs, and if we could request one thing, is that within the county, their scope of the mandate, the scope of work and responsibility can be realigned so that it's more pronounced in protecting the interest of the child. And we are requesting for policies that are aligned to the commitments the government has made in the interest of the child.
Thika West Children's Officer Lena Mwangi blamed the society in general for abdicating their collective responsibility to protecting the rights of children. She challenged grassroots community leaders to work with relevant government agencies and children's organizations while channeling assistance to needy children. She also challenged the county government of Kiambu to set up a child dropping center where some of these children could be taken whenever they were found loitering or begging on the streets.
My name is Lena Mwangi, Sub-County Children Officer, Thika West. Our community, the business community, think it is charitable to give children handouts in town, which is a misdoing, a huge misdoing for the community. If the organization, the businessmen in Thika Town would stop, even the passers-by would stop giving handouts, cash, food from the streets and reach out to these people who are around me. These are people from Thika who have organizations. And whatever intervention you have, you would give to these organizations. Then we have a structured way of giving support to these families. Then we will stop children coming to the streets. We have a big challenge with the children. We call them street-connected children or children living and working in the streets. One, the dynamic with the children in the streets of Thika, most of them do not live completely in the streets. They go home to Kiadutu, which is a walking distance. It's about 2 kilometers from Thika Town. And even children who come from very far, they create linkages with other children and they're able to hire houses and live with their friends. The biggest challenge is that the community does not feel that as a wrong. Because if everybody would take it as a personal responsibility, no adult would rent a child a house. And at times we fear that these children may even develop criminal elements. Because if they go around, they beg, they don't get. In the evening, they even snatch people's phones. They snatch things from people. So what we would call is the nyumba kumis, the village elders in that kijiji ya Kiadutu. Whichever area they come from, they identify, work with the chief, work with us, support us, so that the rehabilitation that is going to be done during that 1 or 2 years will be completed by even having family interventions that maybe the government per se may not be able to do the interventions. But the partners, like the ones I have here, could support us in the family interventions and have a complete rehabilitation, even adjustment with the family, especially families who are economically challenged. Some parents could get skills so that they can get employment and now break the chain of poverty, because that's what we need to do so that these children can settle in the family. The county has a mandate from the Children's Act 2022 that we can be able to establish like a dropping center in the bigger towns where whenever you see a child in town, you can take this child in that dropping center. And then we have social workers, which I believe my partners who are working in the town can be able to do the social inquiry for this child. Unajua where do they come from, what are the challenges at home, and then interventions are done.